Well, if you're going to send a dick pic, you don't want it lasting.
Baby, my dick always lasts forever. Sure as shit doesn't.
Hello and welcome to the PGG podcast episode 19. That was Henry's description of what he does in his spare time there, I guess. My name's Gareth Evans. This is Henry Cooper. Sorry.
You've really cocked this one up.
This is reigning champion and undisputed champion of the world, Henry Cooper. There you go.
I'm really not feeling it.
I'm out of sorts today. I'm not on the ball today. I am not on the ball. I'm just warning you all. Gaz is not on the ball. So let that be a lesson to you. Yeah, I'm going to be spouting shit today. I'm in one of those moods. And this is the podcast episode number 19 of 2019. Only 2000s ago.
Yep, we're almost there. Every little helps. What's 19 in Welsh?
Indignaw.
Indignaw.
No.
Now.
Indignaw.
That's what I said.
Of course. So we are going to do a podcast. Apparently, we're going to talk for a long time. You're going to listen and you're going to enjoy it. That's how this thing works.
One of those things will come true.
Some of those things might come true. And today's big story that we're just going to get stuck into is Death Stranding. You said Days Gone then.
Days Stranding and
Days Stranding.
Death Gone.
Death Stranding. Oh my God. Everyone's talking about Death Stranding. Everyone's super excited. We're going to be jumping into that straight away very soon. We've also got a few other things to discuss today. A couple of things. One thing about Last of Us Part 2, Sony Days of Play is happening. We'll talk briefly about that. There's not much to talk about there. And then EA Play as well as Anthem. A few more nuggety type of things rather than like full-on discussion. Because we've got a huge discussion when it comes to Death Stranding to begin with.
Death Stranding's kind of knocked everything else out of its way.
Yeah, we could have done a whole podcast just on Death Stranding and stuff. But no, we're gonna we don't want to shortchange you guys. We've got to keep it varied. And then after that, we're going to go to the Discord questions. And then finally, taking some questions from YouTube. If we have time, usually we do, but there we go. Let's talk about Death Stranding.
So, if those of you who don't know, it's a game, apparently.
The end. Right, let's move on.
We don't really know much else about it, to be honest. Hideo Kojima, some would say genius, some would say pretentious tosser behind games like Metal Gear Solid.
Equal mix of both,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm a big Metal Gear fan, but I am fully aware that whatever happens in his brain, only he understands.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. I like the weirdness. So
this all kicked off with a live stream. On the PlayStation Twitch.
Did you watch any of the live stream?
I didn't.
So I clocked a bit of it yesterday, and it was essentially a screen of black goo. Yeah. With some kind of ominous music in the background. Then over time, handprints appeared on the goo.
Yeah.
And through the handprints, you could see the trailer underneath. And they added more and more handprints as time went on. So I was that's kind of cool. But am I fuck watching this whole live stream? I'll just wait until the thing's actually out.
It's paralleled with last year's announcement of Fallout 76. If you remember last year, before E3, exactly the same time, we had Bethesda doing a live stream of sorts, building up to the announcement of Fallout 76. And we all know how that turned out. But, I mean, the live stream itself generated a lot of hype and excitement. And I think that maybe this has done exactly the same for Death Stranding.
It's a good marketing tool because it gets everyone talking about it.
Talking about your game before E3 when all the games get talked about.
It's a trailer for a trailer, essentially, having a big old live stream. And it's kind of a quirky way to do it.
It's a community event, isn't it? Everyone's getting together. Everyone's getting excited for the same thing. They can discuss the theories, especially on a game like this where you don't really know what the fuck's going on anyway.
Exactly. This is what, like the 4th or 5th trailer now, and we still barely really know.
Yeah.
Although this one
kind of know what goes on.
This one's the most like an actual trailer. Like there's things you can point out. Oh, that's this thing.
Yeah. So eventually the trailer was shown 8 minutes and 50 in its entirety, a majestic piece featuring a singing Mads Mikkelsen, Troy Baker making it rain with his finger.
And licking a girl's face.
That's pretty orcs, wasn't it? Talking of awkward, an awkward dodging animation, and finally Hideo Kojima's name over and over and over and over and over again.
just in case you didn't know it was him, and then a little Yoji Shinkawa at the beginning doing the art.
Oh, by the way, I did this part, I did that part, I did this part. Everyone else had one part to do with this game, and I did everything else, and my name will be on every single thing that I did.
Hideo Kojima made the game, made the entire game.
Hideo, I did everything Kojima. Anyway, so this was a gameplay trailer.
A bit
of a gameplay trailer, because I timed it myself. I sat there through the whole thing 3 times. On the 3rd time, I timed how much gameplay was in it. Okay, 8 minutes 50 of a trailer, 2 minutes and 12 seconds, 60 milliseconds of gameplay, which is almost exactly 1/3.
Just think of that content.
1/4.
That quality content.
The rest of it was cinematic.
Yeah.
It was all cinematic. And I made a funny throwaway tweet. When's the movie? Isn't the movie getting shown in IMAX? Because it's pretty, again, for a gameplay trailer to show 3/4 of it just cinematics. It's just Hideo, isn't it?
Yeah. At this point, you're either behind it or you're not.
Hideo, say my name, bitch. Kojima.
Yeah. That's what he says to Jeff Keighley in the bedroom. Say my name, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I like Kojima's stuff because it's really freaking weird. That being said, the gameplay in this is very, very, very minimal. And what we do see, it's not a lot going on. It's like, we're going to put a ladder up a thing. We're going to stick a stick in the ground and then rappel down a cliff. Tiny bit of shooting for about 3 seconds.
We're going to hide in the long grass from the bad guys.
A bit of beating a guy up with a briefcase.
Yeah.
So
it's weird, and it's all over the place. There's different area. There's different. It shows up. We'll maybe talk about.
It shows loads at the same time as showing nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't explain much, but it does show a lot of what goes on in the game, I guess. So, I mean, the first bit of actual gameplay, there's 0 UI for the most of it, and then when you get the menu screens up, they look nice. It looks cool.
It's like a weapon wheel type thing.
It all looks very good, right?
Yeah, it's very neat, very pretty. Metal Gear Solid 5 specifically has a good UI, I think. It's all like holograms, and it's sort of very light and effortless. Yeah,
it does look awesome. So what's the game about, right? I mean, have we got anything else gameplay wise to discuss? You made some notes, right?
Hold on, let's see if we can find them.
Before we move
on, one thing that I thought you see quite early on that I was like, that's a tick in the box for me. You get a motorbike
with awesome like those blue lights on the wheels.
And the wheels that, like, it's one wheel, but then it splits into 2 at the front, I guess, so you get more control. Turns into a tricycle, motor tricycle.
I mean, we thought we were just going to be Parcel Force Simulator 20.
Now we're a Deliveroo driver.
We thought we were just going to be trekking across the mountain ranges. But no, we get this awesome bike, which looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know, like, how often you're going to be able to get it, or if it's, like a tool you can use all the time, because we only see him on it like a tiny bit in one area. But hey, it could be a important thing, like in Days Gone, or it could just be an extra vehicle, because we see other people roll up in like a big truck. Yeah, and we don't know if we can interact with that. Probably not, I'd say, but you never know.
Yeah. Talking about gameplay, Kojima himself tweeted, Death Stranding is not a stealth game. It's a brand new action game with the concept of connection and strand, in brackets. I call it social strand system or simply strand game. Okay, of course you do, Kojima. You call it whatever you want, lad. So it's not a stealth game. I mean, some of the gameplay in that sequence we discussed in there, you were hiding in the tall grass away from this vehicle of enemies that came out and start chasing you eventually, and they've got sticks like melee attacking you.
Yeah, big old cattle prods.
And you're just running. You've got this big cumbersome box on your back, and you're running around. You get something knocked off your back, and then it's the most awkward dodging animation backwards as you can imagine. And then you run and pick up the thing that you've lost, and then finally you decide to fight back. You get your fists out, and how he's able to do that, how the Norman Reedus, right? Yeah, he's able to fight with that big, huge box on his back. Is beyond me, but he's able to do it.
That animation does look really weird. In the rest of it, where it's obviously very well crafted. Graphically, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's running on the Decima engine, which is what was used for Horizon Zero Dawn and homegrown over at Guerrilla Games. So Sony sharing tech, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that animation's just like, it sticks out in the rest of it, which looks really pretty and well put together. It's just really kind of janky for no real reason.
Yeah. I didn't know what to think. When I first saw it, I thought, holy hell, this gameplay isn't selling it for me. It really isn't. But I mean, I've seen it a couple more times now. It kind of makes sense. He's got to show off how some of the game works. Why choose that particular janky looking dodge animation? I don't know. You could have shown off a lot more, I'm guessing. You do get, although there's no guns or projectile weapons in that sequence there is a scene later on where it's like World War One. You're in the trenches and you've got some, like, you've got a futuristic weapon with you. Yeah, and you're fighting, you're shooting.
Yeah, because we
assault
learn
rifle, right?
Yeah, we learn in the trailer that the game takes place in America, so it's not like a fictional land. It's America. Yeah, but it's just been messed up by some apocalypse or whatever, and then there's other shit going on. But then there's these bits where it cuts into what looks like World War One with big tanks and like Spitfires flying around. Well, I mean, even though they were more active in World War Two, but forget about history. This is a Hideo Kojima game. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. History doesn't matter, bitch.
Exactly. Hideo, history doesn't matter, bitch. Kojima.
Yeah.
But then there's other bits where you see Mads Mikkelsen's character, who's presumably the baddie, looking very, very sinister in like modern tactical gear with like modern helmet with like night vision goggles and stuff.
Yeah, well, Hideo Kojima's character is a weird one. We mentioned earlier that he does sing, and there's a point in the trailer where he's dressed in a suit and he's in some sort of laboratory talking to a baby.
He's got glasses on.
One of the bridge babies, we now know that's what they're called. He's got glasses on. I've got a theory. I've read some theories, and it kind of rings true as to what the whole scenario is. So I guess we could go into that and
down
how
the
that
deep
works.
rabbit hole of Death Stranding.
Yeah, and start with a few theories as to what the story is and where all the characters sit in it. So Mads Mikkelsen. So whole Death Stranding thing. The theory goes right that Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, he's a scientist.
Yeah,
who's done a whoopsie.
Yeah,
opened up this portal to the bad air. You know, the devil area place with all the bad guys.
Which is it's not like 100% true, but it seems to be that's called Hades. They say something is Hades, and I'm assuming that whatever the like other world is. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah. So that was when Mads Mikkelsen was kind of human, normal. Yeah. Now he's opened up this bridge to this other realm or whatever, where all the bad guys are, all these monsters and shit. Now he's done that, he's turned into some weird character, and we see later on in the trailer where he emerges from some sort of water, right? Yeah. And he's got these kind of death things behind him, and he lights a cigarette in the air with nothing, and then he just throws it in the flame, and he just walks through the flames. Yeah. So that signifies that he's changed from, you know, being the scientist dude into some sort of creature himself.
And in one of the other trailers, we see him emerge from like the darkness with these blokes as well, and they're all tethered to him, like the babies get plugged in, and all the ghost things have this like umbilical cord looking thing. Yeah. So there's definitely something supernatural or weird and otherworldly going on with him. Yeah, whatever it is.
Let's jump straight into a quote from the PlayStation blog, or Kojima's blog, trying to make sense of what this scenario is. People have created walls and become accustomed to living in isolation. Death Stranding is a completely new type of action game where the goal of the player is to reconnect isolated cities and a fragmented society. It is created so that all elements, including the story and gameplay, are bound together by the theme of the strand or connection. As Sam Porter bridges, you will attempt to bridge the divides. Get it? You call bridge your bridges, and your job is to bridge the divides.
He's not very good at naming
How very subtle there.
We'll go into that in a minute.
I'm not so subtle, Kojima. And in doing creating new bonds or strands with other players around the globe, hinting at some sort of multiplayer aspect to it, which we don't know too much about yet.
That's been rumoured of and speculated before, but we just don't really know what it means.
Yet to be decided. Through your experience playing with the game, I hope you'll come to understand the true importance of forging connections with others. And I think that this is maybe the strength of making this. we joked earlier about making it a movie versus making it a game, and I think this is the biggest selling point of why it should be a game and not a movie. But through your experience playing the game, I hope you'll come to understand the true importance of forging connections with others. So humanity, there's some sort of apocalyptic event. Humanity is segmented into these little pockets where they're defending against because we know that the world is a dangerous place. Now you go out in the open, the monsters come and get you. Troy Baker out there making it rain with his finger, and the rain kills people. Them crows or birds falling out the sky as you're riding.
The rain, it's got a stupid name. Timefall, they call it in one of the other ones. So, and it like advances your age like rapidly. If it hits you, you just start getting super old.
So we know the laws of physics are fucked up, right? Yeah. This isn't like this is verging on fantasy, right? So anything is possible. Time goes a different pace. Rain can kill you. Invisible monsters come out of nowhere. The whole floor can turn black, and you can be. Well, this is the theory, right? When you die, you go into this other world, this nightmarish
because death's
world.
Like an actual mechanic in this.
Yes,
like you don't just respawn and game over.
And so the theory is that's what the World War One area is, where it's all black, it's all muddy, and a part of your when you die, part of your job then is to get back to the real world, which is what you're trying to achieve when you're in the World War One area. So that's the theory. These bridge babies is the next question. What do these bridge babies do? They bridge the connection. There's a connection between the baby and the
other side,
the other world. You're carrying it around in a little container thing,
which you can get one of if you buy one of the fancy editions.
We can go into
that in a sec,
in just a while. So these babies are important because maybe they allow you to come rather than die. Maybe you go to this other place and then you can come back. I don't know for certain, but
the babies are definitely important, and the umbilical cords and stuff. It's kind of been running through a lot of the imagery because that itself is a connection, right? So that links to the whole theme, and that's a strand and all that crap.
It's all about connecting people, and on that theme, the BT is the bad guy, right? Because their connections aren't so strong, right?
Yeah, because
BT, British Telecom, internet sucks, right?
Get on.
That's the theme.
This whole thing is going to be a big ad for Virgin at the end. The bad is going to unmask, and it's going to be Richard Branson. So as we just touched on, there's all of the various editions, right? We got them written down here. Your standard vanilla scrub boring. Oh my god, you don't have collectibles edition.
Oh, we didn't. We didn't say the release date. For those people who haven't seen it, it's all over the place. Anyway, it's November the 8th is when the game is launching, and they've announced all these standard editions and Adua.
I mean, I made a video back in January saying it was out in 2019 with all the evidence, and there was a bunch of comments being like, no, because this. I was like, I was fucking right.
Yeah, make sure you get that Henry I Told You So Cooper plug in there,
exactly. I know everything apart from whatever's actually happening in this bloody game. But so there's the standard edition, which has like a bunch. There's pre-order bonuses as well, which apply to all of them. So with that, you get the Chibi Ludens PSN avatar. So the Ludens, they're soldiers or something. We haven't seen any in-game, but it's part of a lot of their marketing. These big kind of Apollo astronaut type things that are a bit weird. PS4 dynamic theme. Cool, I guess. Pre-orders also get to receive special gold versions of in-game items through gameplay. Gold Sam sunglasses, gold hat, gold speed skeleton, which increases the speed of Sam's movement, and gold armor plate, which increases protection. So that's... there's going to be an argument about pay to win there.
Well, this is the reason why I wanted to bring this up, right? This version is $60, and this is a pre-order bonus. So if you buy the game after it launches, you won't get these things, right? But for the standard edition, if you pre-order it, you get a gold armor plate, which increases your protection, right? It is an item in game that you can get just by playing it, right? Yeah. But you do get increased protection gold armor plate as well as increased speed skeleton. So it's pay for an advantage, right? Or early access for an advantage, you could say. Yeah. So there is a little question mark over that, and I don't see why Hideo Kojima has decided, or Kojima Productions, or whoever's decided to do this, because it's unnecessary as far as I'm concerned. And when you look at the other, I just skimmed through the other editions. There's a special edition that's $70. The original standard was $60. So with that, you don't get any additional bonuses, gameplay bonuses, but with the deluxe edition at $80, you get a gold power skeleton, not just a speed skeleton, which enhances Sam's ability. You get an all-terrain skeleton, which again enhances Sam's ability. So sorry, power skeleton enhances Sam's ability to handle heavy cargo. All-terrain skeleton enhances Sam's ability to balance himself on an uneven terrain, and the gold armor plate level 2. You get a stronger protection for Sam against falls, gunfire, and more. So you are getting an advantage out of this. It's probably not a multiplayer game, so nobody's going to be fucked.
Yeah,
right?
And if the multiplayer aspect presumably isn't a competitive aspect, right? Because it's about bringing people together, not making competition between them.
So that was the $80 version, as well as various other things. My question about this is, like, not that it bothers me. It doesn't bother me. They do what they want, right? A lot of people get upset about these things in terms of, it's pay to win, it's pay for an advantage, this and that. I don't see the problem with this. However, there will be people who always call this out on YouTube who won't be calling this out because it's Hideo Kojima. Yeah. And I'm not going to say Yongye because maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, maybe he hasn't done it in the past, but there's so many YouTubers who would lap this shit up if it wasn't Hideo Kojima. I mean, it's a single-player game. Enhancing somebody's ability, I don't know. You think back to the Assassin's Creed Odyssey game where you got like a double XP boost for an extra like microtransaction, whatever. Is it same as that? Is it that kind of thing? I don't know.
I just feel like this stuff, it's just like...
It's just not needed, is it?
Yeah, what's the point? And they're super ugly. What, like gold?
Yeah.
Like, that's just like, oh yeah, look, I paid it and got the fancy pantsy edition. You just pre-ordered it, you little weasel.
The fact is, you pay $20 extra for the digital deluxe edition, and you get stronger protection. You got an extra couple of abilities for Sam at the offset. Who gives a fuck? It's a single player game. It's not a multiplayer game, right? If it was a multiplayer game, there'd be question marks. Everyone will be talking about this. But I think they are skirting a very fine line here between what's kind of acceptable in the community and what isn't. And nobody will pick up on this. Nobody will pick up with this.
It happens with so many games, and it flies under the radar. Even Days Gone had you, if you got one of, I think, the deluxe version, which had like you unlock a certain skill earlier to mean your bike you can repair your bike faster or something like that, or like you get skins earlier or whatever.
I don't get it. Like, why would you want to speed up your progress in a game? And Jim Sterling makes this point all the time. You're paying to skip, right? You're paying to miss out on progressing your character, essentially, to earn stuff. You're not going to earn anything. You're not going to earn these things. They're just going to be given to you. And I always feel cheap when I get that. Like I had a pre-order bonus on No Man's Sky. I didn't pre-order No Man's Sky. I just admitted that I pre-ordered No Man's Sky there. I pre-ordered No Man's Sky. This is the very last pre-order that I did before I realised that it was the worst thing to do in the world. Before we actually we're actually making news content on this channel, actually. And in return, I got this awesome ship, right?
Right.
So, like the Lego-looking early first ship that you get in No Man's Sky was usurped by this awesome kind of jet-looking thing. And I thought, well, I feel so cheap jumping into this when I know it's a survival game. You got to earn your things that you gain in that game. And I felt like, well, I don't really like this. Like, what's the point in getting things if you haven't really earned it? There's no pride and accomplishment here.
That is true.
There's no pride and accomplishment.
I pre-ordered like literally the week before it came out Red Dead Redemption 2, and with that I got the Warhorse, which is like one of the best horses in the game. I still haven't I still haven't added it on because I didn't want that.
Yeah. You can redeem it from your option, from your menu
something
or something,
like that.
right?
Like, but now I've finished it, like I might add it on now just so I can, oh, there you go, I've got a decent horse. But why would you want that from the very beginning?
Well, some people might not have the time and patience to play the game they actually paid for. True. So I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's heads.
My main actual positive from this is that if these are pre-order bonuses to the increased character stats, it means that character stats are a thing, and some RPG mechanics and that sort of thing, like equipping armor pieces and stuff, and that's all great. I love that.
There's definite items that enhance your abilities in terms of progression. You've got a level 1 and level 2 armor plate confirmed here, which is good.
But then apart from all the in-game gameplay stuff, you get like the music of the game, which I'd quite like a music thing. I think that would be one that I would really enjoy having, but paying like £1 million for it, probably not. There's like behind the scenes videos in one of them, and then with the super duper one, the collector's edition, that's the one where you get a replica of the baby in the jar,
Bridge baby pod statue, life-sized. So it's like this big, and it looks weird.
There's a bunch of pictures on Kojima's Twitter of him, because you can take the baby out of the jar and he's just holding this partially formed baby. It's really strange.
That is crazy.
You get like a little key ring as well, and
Bridges cargo case. So Bridge is the name of the company that the main protagonist Sam. It's his surname, and it's his transport company, his delivery service, right?
His
Bridges.
name is so on the nose. So Sam, and the game's all about America. I heard. I can't remember what video it was. It might have been an Inside Gaming video saying he's Uncle Sam, because that's the American thing. All right, gotcha. Porter, that's someone who in a hospital
moves things around,
run things around. He's got all the boxes and stuff. And Bridges, because he's building bridges and connections. Like, wow, your whole name's really on the nose there.
So, talking of names, we got to confirmed some of the other name characters in this game. Now, we have Sam, obviously, Norman Reedus. Dead Man is the name of Guillermo del Toro's character, who makes a special appearance. So, is that what they...
Yeah, I'm surprised he's in it as much. I didn't really expect him to be such a... Because he seems like way more of a important character, because in one of the trailers it's all about him. And
that was one of the very first ones, right?
So if you don't know, he was working with Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus on Silent Hills back at Konami before that all got cancelled and Kojima got sacked.
Assumedly, he's not a large player in this, because it does say special appearance underneath his name, and it does that. Or it also does that for Hartman or Nicholas Winding Revan. Sorry, the image isn't very good quality. Anyway, another one of the characters. So Amelie, who've seen before, Lindsay Wagner. Higgs is Troy Baker, obviously.
Yeah. And with his face as well. He doesn't always do facial capture, but it's got facial capture this time.
Confirmed Troy Baker. We've got Mama, who was a new character in this trailer, I believe.
Yeah.
Margaret Qualley. God, I should have written these down. Cliff.
I believe she's the girl who plays Quiet in Metal Gear Solid 5, who's the one who knocks about in a bikini, and they were like, oh, there's going to be a big meaning behind it, and you're going to eat your words for saying we're objectifying her, but then it was just, no, we wanted her to be in a bikini.
There you go. So next up, it is Cliff. Mads Mikkelsen's character is called. We've got Fragile Leah Seydoux.
Yep.
We've got Die Hard Man.
Die Hard Man.
Who looks like a baddie, and he looks like he would take a while to kill. Therefore, we'll call him Die Hard Man. Tommy Earl Jenkins plays that character, and then we, as mentioned earlier, Hardman.
Why call him that? I mean, but the thing is, that it's a really stupid name, but at the same time, I'm like, that's classic Kojima. It's stupid, but it's classic.
Hideo, why call him that, Kojima?
Die Hard Man.
So those are the characters that were featured in this trailer. That's for sure. We don't know how at one part of the trailer it was like, we want you, Sam, to follow what Amelie started or something. So Amelie's the character who's crying tears, and it seems like something's happened to her. So I don't know.
They're all crying.
Speculation aside, I mean, I think that's as far as we can go in terms of speculation. Unless you've got anything to add to the theory.
I'm still totally on board with this because I have no idea what it is. That is part of the what makes it interesting is because it's so strange. Once it comes out, they need to pay off on answering stuff, because if your game is just as mysterious as the marketing, you're not gonna get that like closure, I suppose, or like resolution. Like, why was I intrigued? That there's no eureka.
I think that's one of the things that's very unsatisfying about some TV shows that don't clarify some of the mysteries in them, is where they keep you drawn along for so long and they never explain anything to you, and then you feel like it's anticlimactic. Something if you watch a show and you never get any answers and it's all mystery and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like you said, hopefully you start getting answers pretty soon, as well as the mystery gets drawn out at the same time. So
because when the mystery becomes the point, like we're doing it to be mysterious, I don't want that. I want the story to be the point, told through a veil of mystery and intrigue. I must admit that I've never been that excited for Death Stranding. I've never really got on the hype train. So many people losing their shit. Everyone in the industry losing their shit. All journalists and reporters. Everyone super hyped for this game, and I just feel like I'm just out of the loop. I just feel like I'm not connected to it. And having watched the trailer, I'm like, the thing I appreciate most about games is the gameplay, right? Like, what experience am I going to have playing this game, interacting with this game, and journeying through it? And all I see is it's like a movie trailer, right? All I see is cinematics, and all I see is like, this would make an awesome movie. And I feel sometimes, we said it earlier, we joked about it. Why didn't you just make a movie? I'm hoping to be proven wrong.
I hope that I can be. The more I watched the trailer 3 times. After the 3rd time, I was like, well, I'm just starting to get it now. I'm starting to get a little bit of excitement for it. Yeah,
like as we said earlier, what I'm intrigued about in terms of why it's a game and not a movie is how the gameplay informs the experience. It's not just you're playing in a world and you're seeing it through his eyes. It's you're controlling the events and you are the story. The gameplay is the point and is like kind of like a metaphor for it type thing. And that's what makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I just don't see how making ladders to climb up mountains is going to be that appealing. I don't see how hiding in long grass away from enemies and then
again
meleeing them. I mean, I've seen that gameplay before, and a lot of the things are like Kojima saying himself, it's not a stealth game, it's a brand new action game. What is that action game? And I've got the feeling that there's very little shown about the gameplay because maybe there isn't that much decent gameplay there.
That's the risk.
That's the question. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be like. And for all those people who are going to jump down my throat for even suggesting they may have thought that a Kojima game might not be fun to play, I didn't like Metal Gear Solid 5. I thought it was pretty weak. I think sitting through 2 hours of cinematics in the first 2 hours and a quarter of the game,
that's too much.
makes it. I don't know. I think the pacing's off, in my opinion, on the Kojima games that I've played in the past, and I'm fearful whether I'm going to enjoy this game or not. It's probably going to be an awesome game. It might. Well, my fear is it might not connect with me personally because I enjoy very specific things about games, but that's just my concerns.
We've still got a few months until release in November, so I'm hoping we'll get a proper gameplay trailer. Like something we can
that was a gameplay trailer, dude. That was it.
Well, no, but
as good as you get,
it didn't have any actual gameplay. Does it actually call itself a gameplay trailer?
It's a gameplay trailer, man.
That's in the title here. It's just release date reveal trailer. Does it say gameplay trailer on any of the?
Yeah, it did.
On any of the titles, but like an actual gameplay trailer with actual gameplay in it.
Yeah, I think it was called gameplay trailer in the one I saw,
because the official PlayStation YouTube one here with over 3.5 million views, just Death Stranding release date reveal. I guess so.
Maybe it's just a
some of them put gameplay in it because it's it's an extra reason to click because there is gameplay there.
Maybe I'm wrong. There you go.
But give me a traditional gameplay trailer where you like, here's this thing, here's this mechanic, this mechanic
with at least 70% gameplay.
Yeah,
not fucking cinematics.
Well, one thing that really did get me just before I forget about this trailer is it ends and then it doesn't end. Like they run through the characters. He's in it, she's in it, he's in it, blah blah. Kojima's name, I did everything.
Yeah.
Death Stranding title card, and then it just carries on. It just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we get post-credit scenes in every single superhero movie. We started getting post-credit scenes in trailers now. Now it's just the post-credits more trailer. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's not like a last-minute sting. No, we're just going to show you more game.
Yeah. But there you go. This is Hideo Kojima, and who knows what's in his mind. I'm sure it will be enjoyable for the vast majority of people who are excited for this. I've still got a question mark over the gameplay, how it's going to play versus actual being a cinematic experience, because I like to interact with my games. But there we go. Maybe it's because I've not enjoyed that many Hideo Kojima games in the past, and I think people who are excited for it are the ones who've really loved Hideo Kojima games in the past. Hideo, say my name, bitch. Kojima. So there you go. Let us know what you think anyway, because I'm conflicted. Obviously, I'm hoping for the best, but fearing a few things. Let us know anything that you think about the game down in the description, because it was a long segment today. We talked about it for a long time, and it's worthy of it because it's the buzz around the industry right now.
Say.
So many people are buzzing about it, and just. On a side note, a little bit about Last of Us Part 2. Now, Jason Schreier reckons, according to his sources, that Last of Us Part 2 was planned for the end of fall 2019, but probably because of Death Stranding arriving in November, it got bumped to early 2020, possibly February, which I guess is some insider info.
Yeah, if that's true, it makes sense. You don't want two big Sony exclusives too close together. But, and this might be a controversial opinion, I would rather have Death Stranding first than Last of Us 2. Because I've played The Last of Us 1, I love The Last of Us 1, and I sort of have an idea of what I'm going to get from The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
But Death Stranding is completely different. And it's a brand new IP, and I'd rather try that and see what this new thing is and wait for the sequel to something I already know I'm going to like.
Yeah. Right. That makes sense. And I think giving that extra bit of time for polish in a game like The Last of Us 2 can only be a good thing. Again, a pretty cinematic experience, but a lot of gritty gameplay in there too. A lot of kind of... we saw the gameplay trailer last year from E3, and it looked awesome. I mean, there's no two ways about it. The visuals look stunning.
So good that there was a debate about whether or not it was even real.
Yeah. So the only other Sony exclusive that is coming before the end of this generation, supposedly, is Ghost of Tsushima, and that is planned for a little bit later. So let's kind of allocate windows for these games. So November the 8th, we know for definite Death Stranding. We can assume maybe February for Last of Us Part 2, and then possibly 3 months later for Ghost of Tsushima. Now, that's probably how they're planning it, because at the tail end of next year, we're expecting the PlayStation 5 to release, and they want to get those games onto the PlayStation 4 before the next system comes.
So before the end of this year, we've got Dreams as well, and that's not going to be a big AAA type thing because it's a very different game, but that's coming up in summer, I think. And then Death Stranding's in November, so that's Q3. And then if Last of Us is being pushed to February, that's Q4, and then you enter the new fiscal year from April, and then you can have Ghost of Tsushima in then. So they've got their seasons covered. Yeah, if they do it like this, so it does make sense.
Major releases per quarter, you would think that's how they're going. And on that note, considering that PlayStation and Sony aren't coming to E3 this year, which starts in 2 weeks' time, by the way.
Less than.
And
there's some good games confirmed to be in attendance.
We will be talking about E3 and our expectations and our excitement for that in next week's podcast. We'll do an E3 preview special next week. So on that note, if any of you guys have got any predictions, any highly anticipated announcements, or anything else that you want to see or you expect to see at E3, let us know down in the comments, and we'll maybe pick some of the best and discuss them, because we are going to have a special next week, and then the week after E3 happens, we'll probably have an E3 special.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, with Sony not being at E3, it doesn't want to be out of the limelight for too long. Like it wants to be in the headlines. So therefore, Sony Days of Play is a promotion that they're running from June the 7th to June the 17th, all through E3 week, where they're going to be basically selling off loads of old stock before the PlayStation 5 comes.
Realistically, that's exactly what's happening.
So they're putting some offers on for like 10 or 11 days, an offer per day, I think. And on the 7th of June, you will be able to get a 1 terabyte limited edition PlayStation 4 for $300, specifically on that date. We don't know what date, so these other deals are coming, but you will also be get during this promotion a PS4 Pro for $349, PlayStation VR bundles starting at $249. PlayStation VR is a huge thrust for the company. They've got pretty good games. What is it, Bound in Blood or something? The recent one that everyone's jizzing over. I don't know.
Blood Ties, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, there's that one. So starting at $249, you're not going to get every bundle for $249. It starts at $249. You can also get your DualShock 4 wireless controller for $40. You know, I mean, they're too expensive as they are. They should be cheaper.
That's the one that mainly inspires me, because I could do with an extra controller. So
there you go. And then let's talk about games starting at $20. Starting at $20. Not confirmed that these games are going to be $20, but you will be able to get Days Gone, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, MLB The Show 19.
So that's baseball, Major League Baseball.
Guess so. You can also get $9.99, even cheaper, The Last of Us Remastered, the original, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, and then Bloodborne, right? Think about it. If you haven't got a PlayStation now and you've always wanted to jump in, and you've got disposable income and you don't want to wait until end of next year, this is an exciting prospect. Yeah. You can get a PlayStation, 1 terabyte PlayStation for $300 or $350 for the PS4 Pro, and then you get Days Gone for $20, God of War for $20, Spider-Man for $20, probably. That's $60. Hopefully, if they're all $20, $60 for those 3 awesome games, as well as The Last of Us Masters for $10, Uncharted 4 for $10, Bloodborne for $10. That's $90 for those games on top of the PS4 Pro, which you should probably get above the other one. So for a total of $440, you can get some of the best games ever made, as well as a PS4 Pro. I think if you've got $400 and odd to spare, it might not be many of you, but if you have, and you are in the market for buying a PlayStation, oh my God, this is going to be exciting for you.
Thing is, I've already got all of those, so I'm set.
There you go.
300 quid limited edition terabyte PS4, that ain't bad.
Yeah. Terabyte PS4 Pro though, $350. I mean, PS4 Pro
$50 extra.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a better experience. Anyway, let us know in the comments if you think you'll be taking up any of these offers, and hopefully there will be more unannounced nuggets of deals coming too. But that was just a brief one. I just wanted to go through that because it seems like a good deal. And talking of E3 even, EA Play, EA have confirmed that they're not going to E3, but they're doing their own EA Play event beforehand. So the EA Play event, which is happening on June the 8th, Saturday, they've announced their schedule for when they're going to be talking about each specific game. So June the 8th, Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, 5:30 UK time, Jedi Fallen Order is going to be discussed for a full half an hour.
That's the one. Starting off big.
Starting off strong. Coming out the gates.
And I'm pretty sure they've said to expect gameplay which is always good.
This is good, yeah,
It's what we
because we've
need.
had cinematic trailers and whatever, and story trailer or whatever, but we haven't had any gameplay yet. We don't know exactly.
And that's
how
the
it's
big
gonna
question, because you're a Jedi swinging a lightsaber. What's it like?
Let me swing that lightsaber, isn't it? So other than that, everything else is pretty meh. You've got half an hour later, Apex Legends. That's 6 p.m. UK, 10 a.m. Pacific.
It's probably some new content for that, which they are in dire need of.
Yeah, or some sort of plan for release. That's what players need, right?
Yeah,
They need
just
some
give them
info.
what do they call it? A roadmap.
Yeah. Battlefield 5 gets talked about after that, 10:30 a.m. Pacific or 6:30 UK. I guess if you're still playing that game, you want.
Is it relevant? Really?
Yeah, they've drip fed the content so slowly on that game. It wasn't again another EA game that wasn't fit for release, and they didn't have the Firestorm, they didn't have so many features were. Yeah, we just got
the campaign wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that?
Got to get the single player campaign wasn't there. You've got to get the game out the door because it's release window and it's fiscal year, whatever. You got to make that money. Never mind, the game isn't finished. Don't worry, just get out the door. It's just a fucking. What are you doing here? This isn't game development. This is fucking.
It's not working anymore because they are losing money.
Yeah.
People are cottoning on.
So you've got EA Sports FIFA, EA Sports Madden NFL, and The Sims 4 discussed as well, times of which half an hour after the previous one that I mentioned. But no Anthem. They're not going to talk about Anthem. Now, that is so surprising to me. Like, why are they not talking about bloody Anthem?
The game came out, what, 5 months before, 4 months before, something like that, and you're not talking about what was supposed to be your biggest game.
I think the problem is they don't have much to talk about.
There's nothing to say.
They don't have anything to talk about because they've decided. We were talking about it recently on the channel. They've delayed their roadmap because they were fixing bugs. Now everything is, all the problems are caused by the fact that they're not generating content now. They're just fixing up the game that was launched when it wasn't ready.
Yeah, again,
when it wasn't ready. So finally, they've come out. On that note, on the Anthem note, finally they come out and started talking about Anthem because they were expecting to talk about the Cataclysm, which is the new kind of a content update. I'm guessing
game changing thing that's meant to like reshape the world and all that shit.
We didn't really know we don't much about it, and that's the problem, right?
Exactly.
They announced that they were going to talk about it before the end of May, and they didn't say anything until yesterday, which is like 2 days before the end of the month.
Yep.
And then today the live stream is going to happen, so by the time you're watching this, it's already been announced what the Cataclysm is and all this bullshit. They also announced that patch 1.2.0 is arriving or coming, which details various bug fixes, balancing, and various other changes, but no fixing the loot. There's nothing been talked about in terms of the loot at all. No updates on that. So that's the biggest problem for the community, right? It's like they came out of like a month of social media blackout and it's like, yeah, we've got this big patch for you after a month and you're still not addressing the loot. Come on. Like, are you just closing your... Why don't you just address the loot? They're not doing it. But the Cataclysm they're talking about... Speaking of the Cataclysm, you're probably wondering when it's going to release. Rather than rush it out the door...
Like we did the rest of the game.
Rather than actually do our jobs, we want to take time and get feedback from you and make changes based on what we hear. In order to do that, we are releasing a public test server on PC, which will allow you to see the content as it's being developed and gives you the ability to provide feedback which you don't fucking listen to anyway. So what's the point? Loot. What's that word you're saying? We don't quite understand that. Fix the loot. No, we just don't understand it, guys. Sorry. But there you go. We'll learn all about it. Well, we already have learned about it if you're watching this, but we are going to learn about it 9 p.m. today or 3 p.m. Central Time. That was yesterday if you're watching this on Patreon, or it was a few days ago already if you're watching on YouTube, because
isn't time fun?
Yeah, it's weird because this podcast does go out early to the patrons a couple of days early. And on that note, if you do want to get early access to this podcast in future, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. For as little as $1 per month, you can get early access to all the podcasts every single week, which is awesome. And you get access to the Discord.
My girlfriend became a patron. She told me yesterday. I was like, what are you doing? You're paying me. What's happening?
She just wants early access, doesn't she?
She does. Well, she's only just started listening to them.
She listens to them?
She's just the regular episode.
What's your girlfriend called?
Larissa Begg.
Hey, Larissa.
Have
you not got a pet name for her? Like Laz?
I sometimes call her Larry if I'm trying to piss her off, but I don't do that much anymore.
Wow, and you've told the public that you call her Larry.
Well, she knows.
Lazzy. Larissa. It's too many consonants, right? So
everyone spells it wrong as well. It's one R, two S's.
Yeah.
Not two R's, one S.
Yeah. It needs to be shorter because it's not consonants. What the fuck? It's syllables.
I'd just call her dickhead or something.
Okay, let's move on.
Well, she doesn't watch the regular episodes. She just listens to the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't play video games. You don't care. She's like, yeah, but I do it anyway.
I just want to I like to hear you talk, Henry. I just like to hear you make a dick of yourself, Henry. Yeah.
I mean, I do that in front of her enough as it is. I just make a fool of myself.
So that is that. So we've done all the discussions today. Like I said, big E3 preview next week. Let us know what you're anticipating in terms of E3, what you want to happen down in the comments. Let's move on to the next segment, which is the Discord questions. Right. Do you want to do some talking next?
Let's have a go. This first one is from how do I say that? That's Vienticus Prime. Yeah, Vienticus Prime, cousin of Optimus. Alright, here's another question for yous guys. Have you ever had a moment where in a game you did something and you felt ultra elite and dropped the mic, controller, mouse, whatever, but quickly decided that there was no way in hell you were ever going to do that again? Now that's pretty much any time I beat like a super hard boss. Mm-hmm. If I'm playing Bloodborne, killed something, I was like, fucking yeah, I've been trying this for ages. Through the controller, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not safe. I'm still not safe. There's gonna be a million enemies nearby.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I have many of those moments.
It's because you're such a fake gamer.
Yeah,
you're not good.
Talking about I did complete Days Gone yesterday, which you've already done, right? We haven't really talked about it. We haven't reviewed it properly. We've done early impressions, but
might do a real review next week.
You could. The fact that we've both completed it now, that was quite easy. Would you say? Would you say there was any moments like this?
Days Gone was fairly easy. But the hordes were what made it challenging, because some of those, if you're not prepared and you don't have the right weapons and equipment, you're going to get wrecked. Yeah. But I was saying earlier in the office that I think the hordes are really well balanced, because even though they feel easier when you've got better stuff, by the end, there's a really nice balance of how challenging it is, but also how satisfying it is when they're coming at you. There's this wave of enemies and you're shooting them and they're going down. And that's fun because you're like, yeah, I'm getting all these kills. But they keep coming, so you're like, oh shit, and you've got to think on your feet, you've got to move around. Yeah, the hordes themselves, right, are just such a unique gameplay experience that I haven't ever experienced in a different game, and it offers such a satisfying proposition that we could probably make a video on why the hordes are just so awesome. Yeah. Rather than like a review. I mean, it might be easy for a discussion-wise, like reason why you have to play the hordes version. Anyway, we can go into that in more discussion maybe again. I don't know. Anyway, have any of you guys finished Days Gone? What do you think? Let's move on to the next question. Thanks for your question there, Mr. Venticus Prime. Loachgar next. Do you having any more interest or worst experience types from working in retail? Assuming you don't mind sharing, of course. Right. Did you ever work in retail? Like, did you ever have a job as a kid? Or?
My first ever proper job that wasn't a paper round was working in a bar in Rill.
Okay. Oh, I loved working in a bar. That was fun.
Did you?
Yeah. Did you not like it? Well, then again, it was Rill. So
it was Rill, man.
You can't really.
The clue was in the announcement. Like I worked in a bar.
Oh, awesome!
In Rill.
Oh shit!
Yeah, exactly. Now you're onto it. Now you're up to speed. Yeah, it was horrible, man, and it was a bit of a dive bar. It was called Off the Rails. It was called Off the Rails. Awful, just awful people. Some people were really nice, but having to deal with just some of the most awful people that you can ever. People leaning over the bar and robbing things. And when I was like only a teenager, like 19, 20 at the time, and being in charge of the bar where there's like really rough people in, and there's people leaning over the bar to rob a bottle of beer, WKD it was, whatever the trend was back then. It's just not nice, man. It's just not. I hate working with the public.
Yeah,
for that.
Sucks
really
so
hate
much.
it. But you being a Subway.
Well, Subway sucked. I hated that. My worst job was definitely my first job because I worked at Domino's Pizza just as like an install making the pizza stuff. I hated that. Not because of public interaction, because there was actually quite minimal. It was mainly over the phone and occasionally people face to face, but most of it was actually prep and making and stuff. I hated that because of the team. I just didn't get on. Like, we were fine, but I don't know. I was 17, I think, and they were all a bit older, but not massively. But there was just something that didn't quite click.
Yeah.
And the only guy I got on with was the really fucking weird guy, and everyone was like, "Why the fuck are you talking to him? He's weird." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's harmless. He's well weird, granted, but there's nothing wrong with him."
You've always got to make friends with the weird ones because you never know what's going on in their heads, right? So you've got to be in the good books.
Exactly. But look, I was only part time there anyway.
Yeah.
I loved working in the bar. That was awesome. But for a good story that was from Subway. It's the only ever time I've sworn at a customer. I've sworn in front of them before. I'm a bit like, "Oh, sorry, shouldn't have said that." Blah blah blah. Professional. I told him to fuck off, which was really quite satisfying because we were closing up. Served the last few people, and I was all right, you're all done, move out, I've got clean shit. And then we have outside tables, so I went outside, cleaned them, and had all like the scraggly bits of like leftover food, napkins and stuff. And he comes over and he was pissed, drunk, I mean, not angry, because that came.
Those Americans who don't know the difference.
Pissed would be angry would be a slightly different story. And he was complaining that the toaster was already switched off because I turned it off early because it takes a million years to cool down and I can't clean it until it's cool, obviously. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, why is the thing off? Blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, sorry. I did tell you before I served you that it was off and you'd have to have your thing cold, and I was more than willing to still make it for you. You just have to have it like this." And he was like, "Oh, well, that's frankly shit. I come in here all the time." And he threw his rubbish at me. So while I'm half paying attention to him, half trying to do my job, grabbed everything I was holding, overarmed it straight at him, just threw it at him. And because he was pissed, he didn't really notice, just kind of bounced off him. It's just like, "Bleh." So I was like, "Fuck off. I don't need your fucking shit. Don't fucking swear at me," as I'm swearing at him. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not coming back here again." And I'm like, "I've never seen you ever in my life. Fuck off." And I just went inside and carried on with my day.
Awesome.
Tosser.
Wow. Henry flipped.
It wasn't even that bad of a flip. It was just...
I mean, you're chucking stuff over the counter.
Oh, no, it wasn't over the counter. It was, we were outside. I was cleaning the tables.
Oh, well, you're outside.
If it was over the counter, then that would have been more fun.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he was a prick.
There you go. Well, that's an interesting story. Thanks, Henry. Thanks for sharing.
All right, let's have another question from Two Shot Tino. What's the first game you played that wore out a controller/joystick? I'll accept a broken one through rage quitting. Mine was Daley Thompson's Decathlon, again on the Commodore 64. Yes, I'm old.
Classic game. Daley Thompson's Decathlon, man. I remember that. Was it that one? It was a different one, but it was in the arcade where you're just like, you're like this. Fuck it.
I feel like that's every arcade game. You find a way to get your hands in such a position that you just go...
Or what we used to do is we used to get like a small object like this would work, like a bottle top or something, and then because you rub it in between the buttons to go really fast like that. Wow. I was the king. I was really good at that.
Oh, I don't know what controller
I don't think I've ever worn out or broken a controller.
I didn't really break it, but my first Xbox 360 controller, I think it was either the A button or the X button. It stopped, the spring stopped working, so you click it and it just stick.
Yeah. And
I think it was A, actually, because so many games involve jumping and A's usually jump. And I'm just like, well, I physically can't play this anymore with this controller. I think it was just wear and tear. It just happened over time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the question, Two Shots. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you because I don't get angry. I don't rage quit shit. I don't throw things.
No, I don't rage quit so much as I'll calmly quit before it gets to that point. I'm like, no, I'm going to...
Yeah.
I'm a rational adult human being. I'm not having this video game that sends me into a freaking rage.
There we go.
I'm going to stop, go have a glass of water, come back.
Next up, we've got Metal Shark with his weekly handful of questions. Let's start with the first one here. Have you ever had your hand on the stick handling a HOTAS? HOTAS. Pun, however awful, intended. Well done, Metal Shark. Always own your puns. So HOTAS is just basically a flight stick, right? Hands on throttle and stick. Placing buttons and switches on the throttle lever and flight control stick in an aircraft's cockpit. Well, it reminds me of the old like controller or joystick I used to have playing like Amiga or whatever when I was younger. It reminds me of that. I think I did have one that was like a flight control because we used to play F-16 or something. F-16 flight on the Amiga. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I've played with a HOTAS in the past. It's a weird name. Just call it a fucking joystick with buttons. But yeah, I certainly have played, and I think because of my formative years in gaming with the joystick, that is why I'm an invert in terms of.
Oh, I didn't know you were an invert.
Yeah, I'm an invert with a controller.
Yuck.
Do you see me differently now?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Wow. I've been outed. I've outed myself.
Well, when it comes to like flight controls, inverted.
Makes sense, right?
But regular like shooter camera controls, I just keep it regular.
It has to be inverted, man.
Yeah, I've never used one, and I always really wanted to. I want to play like a high quality flight sim with a joystick, but I've never actually had the chance.
Well,
Bit of a bummer. All right, so we've got another one here from Metal Shark. What happened to yesterday's video? I can't find it to watch it. But more generally, is YouTube being more mean, or are YouTube being more ambitious and creative? It's because Rockstar are pricks and they flagged it for no reason.
Yeah, we use a lot of trailer footage in our videos because usually you get away with it. Rockstar don't allow it, right? So what we have to do, we have to chop up the trailer footage to smaller segments. So like under 15 seconds was generally the rule that we used. So long as the clip is under 15 seconds, then the YouTube system won't flag it for copyright. However, yesterday's video, that wasn't good enough. Around a 13-second, like a whole 30-second segment with about 3 or 4 different clips in it was claimed. So just as at the point we were leaving the office, you were flipping the switch to make it go live, it was like, oh shit, I have to bring it down because it's just been claimed and we're not going to make any revenue off this video. So literally all the work that we've put into this is going to be for naught unless we fix it tomorrow and re-upload it. So it's been re-uploaded now, so you can watch it now. But it's all due to them not abiding by fair use, because it is fair use. We're not ripping off the trailer for making money off the trailer's sake. We're using it as an accompaniment to the main course, which is our content, right?
Theoretically, using the entire trailer unedited is fine because we're talking over it and it's transformative in its nature. That's
in theory,
like the catch. But yeah, 13 seconds of footage in a 30-second block
sequence,
even though I had a longer section of about 14 seconds earlier on, so I just replaced it with something else. The rest of the video is fine, so you can go watch it now.
It's testament to how fucked up the system is on YouTube and how they let these companies get away with it because they just don't want to fight. It's not their fair use. Who wants to take it to court and say, well, this is fair use? Like it's a very grey area and with no guarantees either way, and very YouTube don't stand a lot to gain a lot from it, from actually pursuing it in the courts or whatever. So it's down to us to just put up with the shit. Yeah. But there you go. That's how it is.
We could have appealed it, but that can take ages. So we just re-uploaded slightly different version. That's fine.
The appeal process, right? You appeal, and all it does is YouTube goes back to the claimant and says, "This person's claim it. Do you acknowledge that? Do you acknowledge the appeal or not?" And they say, "Nah, fuck them." And that's all I have to do. Like, no, just get rid of the appeal, and then that's it. You could even have a strike. You end up with a strike. I mean, that's what used to happen. You don't do that anymore. But they could just say, "Nah, screw it." There's no arbitration there. There's nobody, a third-party person making a decision. It's just that it gets straight back to them, and they decide whether it is fair use or not. And it's like, really?
Yeah,
that's not a system. That's just a fucking exploitation.
But well, it's fixed now. You can watch
it's fixed. Gazran out of the way. Next question. Which bug has brought you the most amusement? Personally, nothing has come close to Gemini Heroes Reborn, a trashy and mostly broken title where getting enemies' heads through the wall's floor was the beginning of all manner of telekinetic neck-stretching fun. I love bugs, man. I love bugs. Exploits. I like exploits. More specifically. Bugs Bugs, I don't mind. Even Fallout 76, like I had footage of some like mutant or some.
It was a dog, right?
Yeah, it was like a vicious mongrel or something, right? And his head was stretched and his legs were stretched and he was like some wobbly thing running around. I thought that was funny, right? A lot of people take exception to that, but I don't mind those bugs so much. What I do like is exploits, and one specific one sticks in my mind is No Man's Sky. There was a duplication exploit where you could duplicate all manner of items in your inventory using the converter or whatever it was. So I literally made my character rich just by reproducing or duplicating the most expensive.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I realized that I could do that, right, I can just figure out how to do it properly. It's like a puzzle. Like, how do I make the most amount of money in the least amount of time? So you got to figure out what the most expensive item is, and you got to duplicate it, and you got to find out how long it's going to take to. And it becomes some sort of challenge, a puzzle to me, and it's probably one of the most amounts of fun I had playing No Man's Sky, to be honest. It's that exploit, because it was like, yes, I can make it rich, and so I did. I bought myself a couple of freighters. I even splashed out to Frozen Monkey. I think we played a multiplayer game, and I was like, oh yeah, you need some money? I got fucking loads. So I was like, making it rain, Troy Baker style.
Well, I had one that it kind of made me laugh because it was just so like slapstick. I think I even tweeted it a while ago when it happened. I was playing Red Dead Online, just riding around, knocking about. And I think I either mounted or dismounted my horse, and he just went through the floor. Because it looked quite elegant at the time, because he just goes, all right, and I'm gone. Just straight, falling forever. And that really cracks me up, because it's quite a simple thing. It happens in a lot of games, falling through the floor. But it was just the way, like, in my head, I was... people worked 70-hour weeks on this game. It had this much money behind it, and it's had this quite simple glitch. It happens all the time, but it really, really tickled me. I'm not really that fussed about glitches, though. I don't really bother with exploits or stuff. Well, I like the ones where you can get into secret areas with like Easter eggs and stuff. It's like a little developer room or whatever. They're quite fun. Though I had one yesterday that really, really wound me up, and I was playing Spider-Man and I was fighting Taskmaster, because you do all his challenges and then he comes out to fight you because he thinks he's better than you. Beating him up on top of a rooftop, he then falls off. I was like, cool, hop down, I'll get him. I land. I'm like, where is he? He's stuck in a wall. And he's throwing shit at me, and I'm like, well, I can't do anything to you. You've got subtitles up, your audio's gone, and his arm's just like half through the thing, so I had to restart.
That was the worst. That
really crushed that fight. Okay, well, the next question. With the controversial World Health Organization classification of game addiction, have you ever felt compelled, longed to return to a game, more than just wanting to, whilst getting on with everyday life? And if so, what was the last title that gave you that feeling? Generally, whatever game I'm playing at the time, if it's good, I'm quite like eager to get back to it. The most recent one, because the game I've been playing most recently, is Days Gone. Like, just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, when I get home, I can play Days Gone again. I can play whatever.
Yeah, it definitely happened to me yesterday. I mean, I had a 5-hour session to complete Days Gone yesterday, and it was like I didn't want to do anything but finish it, because I knew I was close to the end, and knew it taken so long to get there, and I knew that if I didn't finish it yesterday when I had the time, it would go on and might be another couple of days before I finish it. So I used to get it all the time when I was younger, in my younger days. I just play. I just want to play. Just think about nothing else. Just go and work like the 8-12 hour shift where I was working on when I was younger. I come home, play Call of Duty, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Online or whatever, in clan gaming, and then or play Total War or something, and just work, game. And if I wasn't in work, if I had a day off, I'd just be gaming all day. You should do that all the time, and I can understand why they want to classify it as a gaming addiction, but I think that I don't know. Who am I to say it's
stuff like that, in my opinion, comes down to like, I don't think it should be a disease or anything. It's a problem. It's a behavioural issue, but I wouldn't call it a disease. And you need to address it with your caregivers and your parents and stuff. Who's the authority in that household? Sort them out. Like, I saw an advert the other day for I think it was BT Home Hub, something like that, where they've, one of them, I can't remember if it's actually BT, but they've got, you can pause the internet in your house. So like if you're a parent, you're like, all right, dinner's ready, and your kid's on the phone down there playing Candy Crush, one's on his computer, one's playing video games, just pause the internet for all those devices and then get everyone in. Oh, that was a freaking awesome idea.
Well, what works in my house is just flicking the switch on the router.
Yeah, just
that works. That works just as well. It takes longer to go out, but yeah, kids just completely ignore you. When the screen's on, you want them to respond to something, they will fucking ignore you.
And I get it, because I was that kid. Like, I'd be there playing.
You rude bastard.
No, but I'd be at home playing in my teens, playing Gears of War or Halo or something. My mum's hollering at me for dinner, and I'm like, yeah, just one more. And I'm still going, not multiplayer or anything. Just it's not like, oh, I can't pause it. That's something parents will never understand, is you can't pause an online video game. They just don't get it. It's like, well, why can't you just pause it?
What you don't get, though, is all the effort that's gone into making that food.
Yeah,
and you have
then
to
I'll
eat
come
it
down and I'll be
prime.
really nice and say thanks for making food and all that. And
but it's cold. I don't like this. I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to eat half of it. How much money I spent on that food and how long it took me to cook it. For God's sake, you can be here on time. I don't care what game you're playing, you ungrateful little shit. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking to my own kids.
They've never cooked for me.
I don't call them ungrateful little shit. That goes a little bit far. Right. The next question, again from Malshark. As it's rumoured Ubisoft will be offering a subscription, is there a publisher / platform that you'd consider a, let's say, £10 a month for 100 games, including the later title subscription, with no ownership rights? Would you consider it? I mean, it's the same thing as Xbox Game Pass, right? Around about a huge catalogue of games, £10 a month, makes sense for Xbox. Would you do that? I'd do it for PlayStation.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd do it for Sony published games because they're pretty much all awesome. But I've already got all of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I've already bought them all.
Would you have not bought them and paid for the subscription service as an alternative? I
mean, it's an option. I like having physical media. I like having my discs on a shelf in a place, and I'm like, oh, I fancy playing that one.
Yeah.
But if it was for a broader thing, not necessarily one publisher, I could probably really get into a £10 a month kind of subscription thing, because there's loads of games that I fancy playing, but I don't necessarily want to pay 40-50 quid for.
Yeah, or just trying.
Yeah, or like because stuff like this essentially is demos for everything. You play it. Oh, I liked the look of this, but it's not really for me. Done. You've not lost anything other than time.
The problem with asking if there's any publishers out there, I don't think there's enough publishers out there with a big enough catalogue of good games. EA have, and they've got their subscription service. Bethesda might.
Well, because the only way
subscription for Bethesda, I mean, they don't release enough games, really, do they?
Yeah, but it's always going to be the bigger companies who can afford to punch out multiple games a year. Because if you look at Rockstar, they produce one game every 5 years.
Yeah, it makes sense for Ubisoft to offer this type of thing because they've got enough games in the catalogue. But I don't think there's any other publishers. In terms of platform, I think maybe Steam, it would be a good thing for Steam. Would I, because you don't use Steam, but would I pay £10 a month in order to, say, not have the entire Steam library? That would be stupid because there's so many games. But in order to try out or to be able to play 4 games a month, maybe that's a more realistic thing.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like,
it's only 4.
Even if they ran it on an Xbox type or a home console across their whole library, if you pay 10 quid a month, you can trial every single game.
Yeah.
Every single one. I'd be like, yeah.
There's a new subscription service now for HTC Vive, which allows you to play all the VR games on their subscription service whenever you want, which I was interested in having a look at. They are actually offering a free week, so maybe I will dabble for that. Yeah, it's definitely something. It's a good way to try different games that you maybe wouldn't have tried otherwise, because it's a commitment. $60, $40, whatever it is, it's a commitment these days in terms of the barrier. Absolutely. Especially with no demos or anything like that. You can have a look on YouTube, but you don't actually know what the game's going to play like and whether you're going to connect with it.
Feel it in your hands.
So I think it's a good way to try out new games and try new types of games that you wouldn't normally play. So I definitely would. Yeah. Okay, so then we got
moving on from Metal Shark's plethora of questions, we've got a final one here from Not That Rob Lowe. Just a filler question, should you need one. Do you think games to get today have lost the replayability that games of old had? It may just be an age thing and the selection of games available today, but I wouldn't dream of going back to a game I'd finished these days. But back in the days of Super Nintendo and similar, I could play the same game countless times. I would love to pick up Super Mario World and play that again even today. But even if the thought of playing even God of War again, which is possibly one of my all-time favorites, does not appeal to me at all. Are gamers today, for all their epicness and grandeur, less fun than they used to be? Are games today less fun than they used to be?
That's a very good question, and I think there's a lot of contributors to this. I absolutely get where you're coming from, Rob. Absolutely the same for me. You could play the same game for what seemed like months when you were younger, like on the Super Nintendo or whatever, or any other platform. But these days, I think, specifically God of War, I think it's just, I wouldn't want to replay it again. It maybe just too cinematic, not enough gameplay. I don't know what it is. It just feels like it would take like maybe 2 hours to get into the meat of the game before, and that's a big commitment, like 2 hours. It's always about time for me, but I think it is an age thing too as well. I think that as you get older, you've got less patience with these types of things. Also, I think some of it comes down to when you were younger, not having enough money to buy loads of games. I
absolutely think that, because now I'm obviously older, working full time. I can buy a full price game every so often if I want to. When I was a kid, I didn't have any money. I'd have to like ask my mum to buy it for me, or like wait till her birthday or Christmas type thing.
There's someone there.
Yeah.
Hold thought.
Yeah. What's up? Can I be? Alright. No, I was just trying to fix the broadband. Oh, it's alright. Very much. When did you get back?
Trying to fix the broadband. What's wrong?
Good luck with that. Trying to fix one. Anyway, where were we? Sorry about that, guys.
Interrupted by builders.
I think when you're younger, you don't have as much options available. You haven't got as much disposable income.
Yeah, for sure.
And these days, there's so many games available. Like, I've just finished Days Gone, and like, what am I going to play next? I've got Total War, Three Kingdoms that I've got on Keymailer, which I can jump into. I've also got a couple of other things on my radar. Outer Wilds is one thing that I'm taking a look at. I'm not sure I'm going to pick that one up, but there's just so many more. And like next week there'll be announcements, there's games coming. I could go back to maybe try Fallout 76 and see what that's like now, because I haven't had my money's worth out of that yet, and I'm waiting for that to progress. I'm hoping to 2 at one stage. There's loads of other games. It just feels like there's so much more than what you're doing right now, whereas when you're a kid, what you're doing right now it's all that matters.
Yeah, I still like to replay old games. I'm really bad for rewatching old movies all the time, because I love Jurassic Park, let's watch it again for the 1000th time, whatever. So like, as I said, I've already finished Spider-Man, but I'm replaying that at the moment, because not fully replaying it, I'm cleaning up the map, because I've still got a fair few like side missions and stuff to clean up. But I think the advent of New Game Plus is a really good thing, because I'm planning on redoing Spider-Man and God of War in New Game Plus, because then you get to keep all your progression, your power, and you just play through the story again, which is great. Like, I pretty much yearly play Last of Us again, because I've done that loads of times.
Do you really?
Not exactly. This sounds a bit more, but I like replaying games all the time. I won't necessarily replay the whole thing end to end, or I'll have something else on the go at the same time. Well, yeah, I love going back through it.
Yeah,
back through games.
In terms of replayability, you can play. The last game I played over 100 hours of was PUBG, and that was one map, a one map game where you just play over and over again, because it's a multiplayer game and you can do that. So I think replayability comes with those types of games where you can have a game with your mates and just have a good time in a social environment as well as playing a game. It's more about the time that you're having with your mates rather than the game itself being good enough to replay over and over and over again. But this in terms of God of War, single player narrative based game like that, single player, on rails game. It would never appeal to me to replay a game like that. Would never. I probably would replay Days Gone because I just love that game so much.
I think open worlds are slightly different as well, because going back to Spider-Man, I'm not really doing any story stuff. I'm just swinging about, and like every so often I'll go back into Red Dead and just knock about for a bit. I'm not really doing anything major, or even in Red Dead, I'm not really doing side missions. I'm just, let's go to a town, let's go here, there's a person there, let's kill them, let's start a fight. It's just, I wouldn't necessarily call that replaying. It's more just like re-entering, or like continuing where you left off.
And you're going back for gameplay's sakes, right? You're not going back for story or narrative or any reason.
Oh,
like
I often think I am. Yeah. Like
well, you rewatch movies and shit as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll go back through and I'll be like, I'm really bad for it with watching old movies with my girlfriend next to me. I'm like, this bit, there's this. I know all these behind the scenes.
I fucking hate watching.
I'm one of those pricks.
You are a prick.
Yeah. Well, I'll get one really bad moment, and then she just gives me a look. I'm like, all right. Okay, so there's this bit where it was actually
so annoying. But the reason I wouldn't replay is because I've already experienced the story, and once the story's expended for me, there's not that same excitement. The unknown of the story, the mystery, or not knowing how it ends, is part of the driving motivation for me playing the game. And if I go back to a game, then it'll be just to, like, I'll go back to Days Gone and just do clear the hordes, because that's really most fun you'll have playing the game. Excuse me. But I think back in the olden days, games were less reliant on story, less reliant on making these cinematic experiences.
Yeah,
they were more reliant on making good gameplay and a fulfilling gameplay loop, or something that'll keep you, attract people by making a good, decent game, unlike what the likes of EA do these days. So I think maybe that's another factor too. There's a lot to it, and half of it is you just getting old, Rob. Simple as. We're all getting old, dude. It happens to the best of us. And on that note, thank you everybody for all the questions. If you do want to leave a question for next week's podcast, head over to the Patreon Discord, which you can access to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, $1 a month. Simple. On the channel, hashtag #AskUsSomething. I should probably rename it to podcast questions, really, or something, right? So leave your questions there, and we'll round them all up for next week, and we'll throw them all in. E3 related, please. E3 related if you can. Anything that you're looking forward to, anything you're expecting, anything you wouldn't like to see, and Fable 4. That's probably going to be announced, right? That has to be announced. There's so many things we can discuss. That was just one off the top of my head. Any other questions, leave them on the podcast or in the comments of this one. Like I said, we'll probably be going through the comments too if we don't have enough on the Discord. But it's E3 themed, E3 expectation, E3 preview, all E3 things next week, please. And on that note, we are going to move on to the YouTube comments.
YouTube comments. Have you got any?
I do have a couple this week. Let me see if I can find them in the meantime.
I've got one in front of me here, which I think sums up a really good feeling about the game. And this was on the "Why is no one playing Anthem" video. That's because the player base has fallen off and the game's doing shit. This is from King J814. I got the game for free and I still feel cheated out. Like, I feel like that's such a poignant sentiment of loads of people. Like I didn't even spend money on this. Like, I got it as a gift, and it still feels like I've lost time and energy and everything.
That's it. When your game's that bad, people regret getting it for free. Then you know it's bad.
Yikes.
Next comment was on the Steam video where we talked about Battlefield 1942 getting ripped off by some Chinese dude. He was China's best to use the trailer and whatever. This comment comes from Burning Phoenix, and I addressed this in the video itself, but still he has to be fucking idiotic and change it to his own agenda. Can you guys please not call for more censorship? Valve's doing enough censorship with weeb games. And I addressed it in the fucking video. This isn't about censorship. This is protection for the consumers. Literally, buying that game would be illegal, right? It turns out there's an update to this story that the guy apologized. Oh, it was just a prank. It was just I'm sorry. I'm sorry about getting all this hate. It was really just trying to promote the game that I'm actually doing. It wasn't really I wasn't really going to sell Battlefield 1942. Come on, dude. Nobody's buying that shit. But that was the update. But still, if selling that game under false pretenses, it's infringing EA's copyright IP. It's infringing that, so it's illegal, right? It's illegal what he's doing, and so Steam are just sitting there on their hands thinking nothing of it. Let's just have a think about this, right? Even if it is illegal and Steam aren't responsible for it from a legal sense, they can't be sued or whatever. Even if that's the case, they've got a moral responsibility not to allow people to fleece or to rip other gamers off or to rip the customers off on their platform, I feel, right? And Steam should step up and stop being bitch boys and sort this shit out. And I don't care how many people say it's this is just censorship. If they censor this one, what about censoring others? This is not censorship. This is protection for consumers. If you don't give a fuck about wasting your money on shitty 2-bit rip-offs of games, that's up to you. But I care about that. So, fuck you.
There's some censorship should exist, right? That's a fact, because I'm not talking about political censorship or artistic censorship, but everything is censored in some way. Currently, we are wearing clothes. That is a form of censorship. Should we not be wearing
censoring
clothes?
your own bollocks.
Exactly.
My God.
Should we not? A zero censorship society is literally a wasteland where anything goes.
But my free speech, man. What about my free speech?
It's like, you're right. If you want absolute freedom, the world will fall apart. Because if I want to kill someone, I'm not censoring myself to not kill them, so I'm going to kill them.
Yeah, God,
it's so stupid.
We're very political here now, and I think there's more to it than that. There's more to that, because absolute free speech doesn't exist, right? You're allowed free speech so long as you're not inciting violence or shit like that. Like, that's where free speech ends. So killing someone out of free speech is not a worthy defense, no matter how much you try it, Henry.
It's stupid. This is my hypotheticals.
It is a tricky space, and I understand people's desire to remain uncensored. I get that. At the same time, this is completely different. This is not the same thing. This isn't censoring. This is not censoring. This is protecting consumers. This is a consumer protection thing. If you think it's censoring, all you're doing is you're conflating these problems in order to promote your own agenda. Screw your fucking agenda. I don't care about your fucking agenda. I care about protecting people from getting ripped off. So fuck off. Sorry.
With that one, this is
lost it there.
I got one from last week's podcast from Ben Hascombe, and this I felt exactly the same way you felt, sir, when I said it. I thought Henry was a clever sort until he said Legos, facepalm. It's always Lego. And I knew it as soon as I said it. I was like, I just put the S on the end of Lego. Legos. No, it's Lego. And I've been losing sleep or waking up in cold sweats. I can't go on with Legos.
Well, that's something you're going to have to bear for the rest of your remaining days now.
Immortalized on the internet.
There you go. Again, on the Steam video, the Cyber Coco comments, Valve bad. What YouTuber besides Pretty Good Gaming ran this story? Absolutely none. They are buried in epic nonsense instead. Thanks for the heads up, PGG. You're welcome, dude. doing God's work here on PGG. Who else would call out this bullshit? Nobody. Apparently, nobody else picked up on it. But there you go. We are the only ones who care about your consumer protections and stuff. So there you go. We're the only ones. Remember that.
So I've got one here, and there's been a couple like this, and it's again on the Battlefield 1942 thing. And I knew this would come up. From Matthew Malange. Lol, it's pronounced Shenzhen, China. And it's because you said it wrong in the thing, and then we made a joke about it that I was going to include as an outtake or whatever, but then I ended up cutting it out because the video was already too long.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just leave you to the vultures and watch them. Actually. There was another one as well, but I can't find it.
It's comment bait, though. It's comment bait.
Yeah.
And any mistake is comment bait, which is great. Comments increase engagement. But yeah, it was on the cutting room floor, the explanation for my fuck up there, because I said, I just fuck it, roll with it, because it was a funny enough outtake that I thought I won't have to retake it. I thought Henry's going to leave this in and not make me look like an idiot. No. Apparently Henry can...
Well, it's because our outtake on that video was really long anyway.
Oh yeah, guys, this video's way too long. I'm going to have to cut out this bit explaining why you're not an idiot. Thanks, Henry.
I mean, I don't have the time to explain that. Come on. There was a couple other ones, but I can't see it because my thing's not loading. It's because it was like, when will people understand that the Z in Chinese isn't pronounced like that or something like that? I was like, just shut the fuck up.
All right.
Have you got any more over there?
Not to hand.
Not to hand. Let's see if we can go deep.
Rustle one or two up.
Where are we? Let's see if we can find something worthwhile.
There was one, right?
I've definitely seen a few good ones.
This was Matty Rose, and this was coming on the outro of our Steam video where you put a clip of us talking about you smacking booty or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And he says, I would slap Gareth's booty, even though it's Welsh. I mean
there you go. He's willing to compromise getting through the sheep's
even
wall.
though I've got a Welsh booty, Matty's willing to slap it. Thanks, Matty. Appreciate that. I'm not sure I would appreciate it, but I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless.
Yeah, it's nice to be desired, isn't it? I've just spotted one here on last week's podcast again, because there was a bit where we talked about hair physics, because the new hair tech in Frostbite, and we're talking about how in Red Dead it's too much because the beard blows and it looks really daft. There's someone here called Rick Hippie Killer whose profile picture is just the beard. It's like from his nose to about here, and it's just beard. I can assure you my beard blows in the wind. So there you go. Beard wind blows confirmed.
That puts an end to that speculation.
There you go.
Beards blow in the wind. Who would have known it?
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thought it? There you go. I think we are done in terms of...
Yeah, I've got no more ready to go.
Thank you, everybody, as always, for joining us in this wonderful journey of ours, which was podcast number 19, or if you are a speaker of the mother tongue, podcast 3 of Indig Now. Now,
what's the word for podcast? There probably isn't one, because it's a kind of a newer word.
Yeah, probably podcast Indig Now. Right?
Yeah.
Podcast. You just say it in a Welsh accent and it works. It's the same with all new technology and that. Welsh just like...
What's the one for microwave? That's
Popty Ping.
Popty Ping. Is that like actually what it is?
Popty is oven.
Yeah.
And ping is ping. So an oven that pings, right?
What
but the exact translation would be microdon.
Right,
which is
microwave.
So that's
microwave, right, gotcha. But Popty Ping's way better.
Popty Ping's so much better. Anyway.
On that note.
Yeah, thank you everybody for supporting us on Patreon. If you do want to support the channel and help us bring this content to YouTube, it is very much appreciated and very, very... we literally couldn't do it without you guys. Head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and you can support us bringing you this stuff, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We just wouldn't be here. So, on behalf of Henry and myself, thank you for watching. We will see you again next week. And until then, bye for now.